Hello, bright and shiny beacons of light. Do we have a exciting show for you? If you find yourself long on your month at the end of your money, then is tonight's show on removing abundance blocks for you. I'm Michael Sandler, the host of Inspire Nation. Tonight, we'll talk about overcoming blocks to wealth, abundance, and success. They go hand. So I want to make sure that people can hear me. This is going to be so much fun. So if anybody wants to put in the chat room whether you're able to hear me well or not, and welcome all you boot campers back. Woohoo! All right, let's talk about this. Why do we find ourselves short on month, long on month at the end of our money? Well, it has to do with blocks inside of us that cause us to repeat patterns or to take a giant step forward and to shoot ourselves in the foot. Perfect example of this is the most surefire way to run out of money is to win the lottery. And actually was true for us. Now, Pookie and I, also known as Jessica, but the Pookie and I didn't exactly win the lottery. But years ago, about a decade ago, we won $750,000 book contract with Random House. Woohoo! How does it get any better than this? How does it get any better than this? Well, what do you do when you get $750,000? Well, you move to Maui. But we weren't actually crazy when we got on Maui. We tried to continue to grow our business. We tried to be relatively frugal, although Jessica would say I went nuts with my raw food, foo-foo items at the local grocery store, and she was right. However, the funny thing is, if you have money blocks before you get money, you'll have money blocks afterwards. That's what happens with lottery winners. They find themselves out of money within just a few short years. And that's exactly what happened with us. Less than 4 years later, we found ourselves completely broke, living in her childhood home in New Jersey, completely booted off the island, literally unable to register Jessica's car because we didn't have enough money. The car sat for months in the driveway before we were able to move past our own subconscious blocks and were able to generate the income to be able to, well, among other things, register the car. So I want to talk tonight about how we can move past these blocks because we learned a lot from this process. Do want to mention really briefly, we will be having an upcoming boot camp on removing blocks to abundance, money blocks, wealth blocks, success blocks. Anytime you find yourself doing the Margarena, taking one step forward, shooting yourself in the foot, and stepping back, or what I call the two-step dance there, the 1-2 cha-cha-cha. If you're doing the 1-2 cha-cha-cha, you have blocks that get to be cleared. And so you can sign up for our boot camp where we're going to be doing each night, one night after the next, after the next, after the next, after the next, helping you to clear and remove these blocks. We're going to be doing this by tapping, a EFT tapping technique to remove these blocks. Although we're going to help you with this tonight as well. And then after that, we have a 7-day boot camp on positivity. How does it get any better than that? How does it get any better than that? And you can see in the chat room, I imagine there's some very loyal boot campers who can tell you just how amazing the last boot camp was on getting out of a funk. Lastly, I am waitlisted. I believe it's into April at this point for coaching. But if you're serious about getting assistance to help you move forward and move past your blocks, I'm happy to discuss helping with you. So for serious inquiries only, you can go to inspirenationshow.com/coaching. All right, let's talk about getting back to basics. If only somebody had read us books like Rich Dad, Poor Dad when we were a kid, and explain to us that money is a positive energy. Okay, we'll say energy neither good nor bad, but it certainly can be used as a positive and helped us to play with money. Yes, to learn how to play with money, then we would have had a very different relationship with money to this day. Instead, we either hear money's the root of all evil, or I don't have enough money, I can't afford things. We're going to get back to that in a minute. Or we're very hyper careful. Often the most broke people that you meet are the ones who are the most careful with money, but we develop a lack consciousness. And when we have this lack consciousness, then no matter how much we try to make money, key secret, there is no such thing as making money. You can generate energy. You can dive into the flow. Currency is a flow, but you cannot make money. That's like saying, I am going to make energy. Energy can be neither created nor destroyed. It always is there, which means money is always much closer to you than you ever could imagine. Step number one, if you're going to get yourself into the flow of money, is to get yourself back in alignment. Oftentimes, we are completely out of alignment trying to, quote, make money. In our case, we had a barefoot running book, barefoot walking book. We were considered the barefoot gurus when we were on Maui. That's not what we wanted to teach. We wanted to teach exactly what we're teaching here tonight. We wanted to teach how to overcome blocks. We wanted to teach how to dive into the heart, how to connect with angels, how to connect with your inner wisdom, how to completely transform your life, how to become more positive, not how to run barefoot. There's nothing wrong with running barefoot. It's an awesome, awesome thing. But when I stopped my life coaching so that I was instead coaching people for running, I found myself out of alignment. When you're out of alignment, you're not in flow, you're not in that energetic state. And guess what? Money shuts off. Why? As positive steering and guidance. I didn't realize this until I started the Inspire Nation show. Jessica and I started the Inspire Nation show. There's a reason she's producer. We started the Inspire Nation show, and then we're living at her childhood home. Her mom, who's approaching 70 years of age, said, am I going to have to get a second or third job to support you guys? Oh, I am so sorry. I immediately went into my plan B, which was, how do I switch on the flow of money right away? What did I used to do to make money? Or, got to be careful of my own words. What did I used to do to be in that flow of money? What brought in the most money? And that was when I was living from my heart and I was coaching and helping others. And we immediately flipped the life coaching switch back on, and everything began to change. This means step number one is we have to get back into alignment. We can literally write down, you can do it journaling, you can do it automatic writing. Ask, how am I living out of alignment? Are you living to make money, or are you living for your money to work for you? Completely different scenarios. Two, you have to come up with a mission. It doesn't have to be your grandest life mission, but for ourselves, we're like, we want this show to take off. We want to help so many people, and we would really like to get back on our feet. That trifecta was our mission. We say our mission is to raise people's vibration, elevate consciousness, shift humanity. But let's be truthful. It was also to get our own roof on our head, to get back on our feet. And when we made that decision, and that's the next step, make a decision that you are going to bring in money, that you are going to do the opposite of a lack consciousness. Instead, we are going to focus on money. We're not going to focus on what we don't have. When you focus on what you don't have, you have more of it. But instead, if we focus each and every morning, if we got up and wrote down, how do I get to make more money today? Or universe, thank you for my making more money today. Or universe, thank you for bringing these opportunities today for me to make more money. If you wrote that down each and every morning, voila, no money bags aren't going to fall from the sky, no matter how many times you watch The Secret. But doors will open for you, which will show you how you can make more money. Next, number 4, we got to do, and you get to do, clearing work. What does that mean? It means that we have either emotional blocks, wounds, traumas inside of us, walls inside of us that say it is dangerous to actually make a lot of money. What does danger mean? Well, maybe I'm going to have to pay a lot of taxes, or maybe I'm going to have to give a lot of that money away, or maybe people will come after me or something if I make money. Or if I make money, then I'm going to have to be completely responsible for everything in my life, and that's really scary. There are so many reasons we have walls and blocks. It could have been that as a kid, you had a paper route and you didn't get to keep the money. I've had one coaching client put money in the piggy bank only for her mom to steal her piggy bank. What did that tell her? Well, if you save money, it's only going to go away. I've had many, many, many people, particularly going through divorces, where money became weaponized. So we get to do the clearing work, dive in automatic writing, dive in journaling, and ask, where are the wounds in my life associated with money? You can literally draw out a timeline of your life. Look at key money situations. I'll give you one for myself. In college, I got a lot of help getting through college, and I can't thank my parents enough, but I was responsible for my own finances. OMG. That did not go so well. And I went to a school where most of the students were far, far wealthier than me. They would go away once a month or each weekend, skiing, on vacations, on these trips. I was stuck back in the dorms. How did this make me feel? Made me feel less than, and then less than more, and then less than more, until I developed a relationship with money, that money is for the rich folk. Money is for the other people. Money is not for me. In fact, I ended up getting a job at Domino's and ended up delivering pizzas to the other students who had the money, making me feel smaller and smaller and smaller. It's not about the job. I was actually very proud of it. In fact, I was one of the few people who could drive around in the snow. I was a really good snow driver in my big Oldsmobile Delta 88. I loved that I was, quote, making money, but I didn't realize that I was actually wounding myself in the process. Since that time, I've gone into my automatic writing and I said, angels, guides, where are these blocks? Where did these come from? And I was shown, okay, early in your life, you had a paper route here. You found that you had to work hard. You started caddying at age 12. You're working almost full time by 13. And you learned that you have to work hard for your money, that money doesn't come easy, that money doesn't grow on trees. I can remember one boss who actually fired, well, no, I quit. Marblehead Bike Shop, Marblehead, Massachusetts. I'm sure it's not the same owner this many years later, who told me, don't think. I don't pay you to think. The message here is that you don't use your mind to make money. You use your knuckles and your strength. Thankfully, I did quit that job. So we get to look at how we can clear these blocks. And that means we need to figure out what are your blocks. So write out a timeline of money in your life, not just your life. If you came into this life with a family that struggled with money, ask them, if they're still around, ask your parents about their challenges with money, because chances are you inherited it. Next, look at your language around money. I'm going to go to one specific word. There's so many things that we tell ourselves about money that put ourselves into a lack consciousness, that if we simply became more aware of the negative messages we give ourselves around money, that alone would change everything. I'd say get an index card, carry it around with you. Start watching and writing down all the negative messages you give yourself about money. But particularly watch this one word, afford. Well, what's wrong with the word afford? If I can't afford something, I can't afford it. Well, I looked up the origin of this word afford. And afford comes, the original Old English origin is to further. When you say, I can't afford something, what you're really saying is, I'm putting it further and further out of reach. A much better word choice is, I am not choosing to spend my resources on that. I am not prioritizing that at this time, or that is not for me at this time. That doesn't mean tomorrow it's not for you. It doesn't mean the day after that isn't. But watch the messages you're saying to yourself, because what you're doing is you're carving a deep groove of I can't afford into your mind. We're on to number 6 now. Afford was number 5. Number 6, watch your self-worth. We oftentimes, if we're struggling with money, we get to look at how am I felt less than and less than and less than. And I developed a core wounding that I am not good enough. And therefore, I don't deserve money. It wasn't until I started working on that core wound, I started writing it out and actually write out all the negatives, write it out, write it out, write it out, and shred it. And then there's more negatives, write it out, write it out, write it out, write it out, and shred it until I began working, both doing that shredding exercise, call that the ego dump, doing emotion code, doing EFT tapping, and we have that whole boot camp on it. It wasn't until I started working on my worthiness that more money started coming in. You see, money's an energy. And when we say we are less than, we're clamping off the flow of the universe. When we start to love ourselves up, universe loves us too and says, here, let me show you the money. Often, or not often, almost always, our external world is a reflection of our past internal environment, not our present, our past, coupled with our prahabdma karma or our contract with the universe. That means if your contract is that you're not supposed to be making money right now, you're supposed to be learning from lack, no matter how much you try, it may be challenging, at least initially, to welcome in that money until you do many of these steps here, because I believe abundance and wealth is each and every one of our birthright. Once we clear the blocks, once we learn the lessons, once we begin to truly crank up that self-worth. Next, number 7, leave the ego at the door. I've had so many coaching clients that have said, well, I could make money. They've been well-educated, extremely well-educated. And they would say, I won't do that. I've come too far. I'm not going to do this one thing or that one thing, or you can't make me do that. I will make money any other way, but not X, Y, or Z. Chances are when you're fighting that much, X, Y, or Z is exactly what you need to do. Myself on Maui, I was saying anywhere but New Jersey. Send me anywhere but New Jersey. My wife, Jessica, has her child at home. She's running the chat window. And that was because it was exactly where I needed to be. Ego often fights us when it knows the answer, but it is afraid it will make it feel small. So it could be that you need to push a broom, dial for dollars, or whatever it is that, in fact, they talk about this in shamanism when it comes to plant medicine. Look at the plants immediately around you for the answer to your health conditions. Look at what's in your immediate environment. So when it comes to making money, look at what's in your immediate environment and look at what you're fighting against the most. And at a very minimum, go into your writing and ask, why? Why am I fighting that the most? Why is there such a strong charge? Because charge is neither positive nor negative. But when there's a lot of energy, see, money is energy too, there's a lot of potential there. That's why they say in dating, oftentimes opposites attract because of the amount of energy or potential involved. So we often have to get past that ego. Lots of times coaching clients come to me and they say, this isn't the line of work that I want to be in. I hate my job. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. However, and they may have an idea where they want to go. However, I rarely advise them to jump ship right away unless there's something illegal going on, unless there's some sort of abuse going on. Instead, I'll pull out Henry the tortoise. I like them to move very, very slowly and wisely, like Henry here, and to think of their job as their investor in their future. I can't take credit from it. That comes from Lisa Nichols. Investor in their future. What does that mean? It means it's bringing in the money to help set them free. The trick is that we need to then guard some time to work on other money-making ideas. Take 15 minutes, take 30 minutes each and every day and guard that time with your life. That gets to number 8. If you're working too hard, it is hard to make more money. If you're working too hard, it's hard to make money. What in the world does that mean? Well, a recent example with Jessica and myself is I love coaching. And if I'm honored to work with you, if you're honored to work with me, I absolutely love it. However, I went too crazy over the last few years and was coaching, 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 coaching. What did that mean? It meant that I was stuck in the business instead of on top of the business. That means I couldn't look at how can we build programs that help more people? How can we write our books? Can we do to get the message out to more people? How can we create boot camps? Any of these things, because I was stuck in the day-to-day grind, believing that I had to work hard to make money. Working hard to make money is an industrial age concept. Today, information age, soon to be the AI age, it is about what expertise, what brain or heart power, what intuitive power, what emotional EQ, what non-hard areas can you bring to the table. That matters everything, not how much you're punching the clock. So you get to do everything you can, even if you're punching the clock, to meter your energy, to give yourself time to work on yourself each and every day to get you out of the hardness. Got 4 more left. 9, change your relationship with money. If you feel money is the root of all evil, chances are you're not going to have any of it. But if you love money, if you talk to money, if you bless money, if you make money your best friend or your little baby, if you pet your money before sending it on its way to help somebody else, if you bless your money, and if you start a 10% account or even a 1% account where you put money away for you first, you completely change your relationship to money. As Ken Honda says, you get happy money. Happy money wants to come back and bring his or her friends with them. That's what you want. So love up your money with all you've got. Carry some money around with you. It's not money that you necessarily spend, but have a small wad of cash. Thank the cash. Talk to the cash. Make best friends with the cash. I want to say put a smiley face on the cash, maybe a money clip with a smiley face on the cash. But the more you build that relationship, the better. And that brings us to number 10. Perhaps the most powerful tool for moving past money blocks that you can do in this instant. Write a letter to money. So many experts talk about this, and there's a reason for it. Money is your long-lost best friend who you've abused and pushed away. When you start to create a new relationship with her, it all changes. So what do? Well, you want to write a letter to her. Say, dear money, I'm so sorry that I didn't treat you well. I'm so sorry that I said, I love you, don't leave me, and then pushed you away. I'm so sorry that I threw you out of my life. I'm so sorry that I got angry with you. I'm so sorry, and on. And then talk about how you want to treat her better. Talk about all of the positives and negatives that have been in your relationship with money and how you want that relationship to be moving forward and how do you want to treat your best friend. 2 more. Number 11, be generous with your money, even or especially if you don't have much. Don't do what I used to do. I used to be a tightwad. I used to be stingy. It wasn't so much that I wasn't generous with others. I wasn't generous even with myself. Money is currency. It is a current. It has to flow. The more that you put the money out there reasonably, I'm not talking about going crazy, the more you get back. Can you tip a little bit more? Can you donate to a stranger? Can you donate to a homeless person? Can you donate just a little bit to yourself, even when the times are tough? That's why a 10% count is so awesome. But when you get to be in a state of flow with your money, the universe says, oh, he or she knows what she's doing. Let me give more back. On that note, I didn't have it on this list, but start a budget. OMG. You want to have more money then know what you have, know what you spend, know how much you can spend, and know if there's any gap. The more responsible, I'll put that in quotes because we're all responsible people, but the more responsible that we are with our money, the easier it is to bring in more, the more the universe thinks you're capable of handling it and will bring you more money as well. Last 12, tap, tap, and do more tapping. I love myself completely and fully, even though I'm freaked out by money. I love myself completely and fully. Use different statements to clear the wounds and blocks that you have around money. The more EFT tapping that you do around money, the better, which is why we're going to be having a boot camp on it in just, I think, about 2 weeks. Jessica will put in the specifics in the chat room there. It is going to be incredibly, shall I say the word, affordable to step toward. It is going to be incredibly affordable for you because I want to help you remove your money blocks. You see, money is an energy. If I help you remove your blocks, you feel better, you feel lighter, you feel inspired, you feel the monkey is off of your shoulders, and your light shines brighter, which means you help somebody else shine brighter, and help somebody else shine brighter, and help somebody else shine brighter. None of us were meant to struggle. None of us were meant to live a life of less than, a life of lack, a life of poverty, a lack of, well, that's for them and not for me. No, it is absolutely for you and more. Money, wealth, abundance, success is your birthright. There is no such thing as having too much money. It's just what we choose to do with our money. And I would say the more that you use the money to help others, the more money that's going to come in, the more that you're going to feel better about it. And a rising tide lifts all ships. So the more money I can help you make, the more you're going to help everybody else. With that said, going to open it up to some questions here, see what we've got going on. I believe Jessica has been running the chat room and will give me questions to ask. I don't have her on the line here. I get to figure that out. She's in Sedona right now. I am here. Jessica, are there questions? Jessica, what questions do we have tonight? Let's see. Answer Joe's question. Joe, can you give me a simple but powerful affirmation to magnetize ourselves to become powerful money magnets on a daily basis? Well, the first one, I'm not sure if it's Emil QA who first came up with this concept, but I would say money comes to me with grace and ease. That is by far my favorite, easiest mantra to put yourself in flow and alignment with money. Money comes to me with grace and ease. Money comes to me with grace and ease. Money comes to me with grace and ease. You can say it throughout the day, but you can also say it, Joe, in that hypnagogic state that I know you know very well, in that half awake, half not here, or what I call a state of alchemy, where we can reach on the other side of the veil and literally create. We say it when we go to sleep. Money comes to me with grace and ease. Money comes to me with grace and ease. And you will well wake up still repeating money comes to me in grace and ease. And guess what happens? You go to buy that pretzel, you go to pay for gas, you go to pay that bill, and you're still repeating, money comes to me with grace and ease, and you're putting a positive imprint on that money going out, and it starts coming back to you almost like magic, which it appears to be. It's really energy, but it starts to come back to you with grace and ease. Jessica, do you have a second question for me to answer? Jessica, next question. And since I haven't heard yet, I'm going to dive right into Allison. Allison asked the question. Great question, Allison. I do not enjoy the thought of a budget. How did you guys keep a budget? Was it real specific or kind and gentle? Allison, the more specific the budget, the better. The fact that you don't like it, nothing wrong with that, means we get to lean into it and understand where are the wounds and blocks coming from. Now, I saw that you just said something else here, which is, I really like this. I just don't want the budget to create a lack and restrictive feel. A budget can actually set you free. A budget can be a game. If you go into a store and you know, I have exactly $20 to spend, $50 to spend, $100 to spend, $200 to spend, then you can play a game of where do I want to put those resources? And you actually find yourself cultivating greater freedom. So you can start gentle in this. You can start looking more big picture. What I would do, instead of writing out, well, $50 goes here, $100 goes here, I would make a mind map and get a large piece of paper like a portfolio sheet that you would draw on and put in the center the amount of money that you have for the month, and then put spokes coming off of it with other bubbles as to approximate amounts of where you want to spend things, and make it a game. You can play with it with crayons, you can color code it, you can draw things out. But the more you start to have fun with where you want to place and spend your money, there's a reason Monopoly is a game. The more that you have fun with it, the more that you'll find, ooh, I can use this over here, or I don't need to spend this over here, but if I place it over here, then I feel even better about things. And the more you come alive and realize you can start to have money working for you instead of you working for money. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant question. Next question. Oh, Bella just said, I tell the bank, do not tell me my balance in my savings. Bella, that used to be me too. And that was a huge block to abundance. Now I always say, you can show that to me. You can share that with me because it's energy, neither good nor bad. But the more I know, the more I'm formed, the more I can play with it. Now, what you're really saying is money freaks me out. That's okay. What we need to do, what that means is there's a button in you, a trigger having to do with money. We get to go after that trigger. It could literally be going into tapping. I love myself fully and completely, even though looking at my balance freaks me out. I love myself fully and completely, even though looking at my balance freaks me out, and going a round of EFT tapping and then putting in the positive. Or it can be writing. Do this as an ego dump. Write out, money absolutely freaks me out. When I look at my balance, I feel less than. When I look at my balance, I feel completely broke. When I look at my balance, I wonder what I did with my life, and keep going and going and going. Catch your breath, shred it. It's not real. Those are subconscious blocks, and your worth is not determined by how much you have in the bank, even if it's flat zeros or less than. Next question. Next question. What if, and I don't know if there are earlier questions here. I'm looking to see if Jessica had some earlier questions. Bear with me. Create multiple savings accounts. Okay, I'm going to actually go to what Jessica said here. She said, at Allison Muse, with some banks, you can create multiple savings accounts and auto transfer money from your main account into sub accounts for different categories. This is a brilliant idea, and I would add to it. Make a 1% or preferably a 10% account today. What in the world is a 10% account? It means you take 10% of the monies that come in and put it aside for your savings that you do not touch unless it is a true, honest to God emergency. If 10% is not possible, start with 5% or start with even 1%. Even putting the tiniest little bit away, the universe will find ways to give you that much money and more. Easiest way to sock it away is to have an account, another account set up where it automatically diverts a certain percentage of those funds, or a certain percentage of your check goes into each and every paycheck, so you don't even have to think about it. But the fact that you get sick to your stomach, the fact that you get worried about these things means awesome. So the definition of a shaman, and I'm a shaman, you're a shaman too. The definition of a shaman is one who sees clearly, who sees through the illusion, who sees through the Maya. When you find a pit in your stomach, I want you to bring all of your shaman energy to it and look and lean into that pit and see what it has to tell you. Yes, this is graduate level work. But when we do that, when we feel it and cause it to expand and feel it and cause it to expand each time breathing into it and feel it and cause it to expand, eventually it pops. And what's on the other side of pop is greater peace. But when we say, I don't want to look at what I have for money, the universe very clearly will say, that's okay. I'm not going to give you any money that you have to worry about looking at. Instead, let's lean into that. All right, let's see what we have for a next question here. Inspire Nation, Jessica Lee, do we have more questions? Jessica, do we have a next question? And let's see here. What if deep down unconsciously, we don't believe what we're saying when we say affirmations? Astro MIA, 99 out of 100 times or more, we do not believe what we're saying in our affirmations. It is an excellent point. However, still actually helps to say them, because before we say the affirmation, we have a negative superhighway that says, I am less than. I don't know how to take care of money. I am not meant to have money. I have lack. I wish I had more money. Why don't I have more money? And we go on to this superhighway of lack. So what we need to do is get out the road crew, even if we don't believe in the highway we're building yet, and get those jackhammers going. Now, the jackhammers work much better 2 times of the day. Maybe 3 times of the day. First off, just before bed when you're half asleep, get your jackhammer out at that time and do your affirmation. You make huge gains. Second time, first thing in the morning when you're half awake. And then if I was to add a third bonus time, it is in a state of meditation, like listening to theta brainwave entrainment music, or while doing automatic writing, which is a meditative writing process. Because at those times, we're able to bypass the guards of the subconscious that say you are FOS. We will bypass that and actually can get in and carve those grooves in the record. Is it helpful to say 24/7? You betcha. Is it necessary? No. If I had a money block, would I do it? Absolutely. Money comes to me with grace and ease. 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 Make it a song. Money comes to me with grace and ease. I don't believe it. That's okay, ego. I still love you. I love you up so much. Money comes to me with grace and ease. Money comes to me with grace and ease. No, it doesn't. Oh, that's okay, ego. I really hear you and I respect you. And I want to understand why you're saying that. And I'll write it down. And money comes to me with grace and ease. All right, let's see what we have for a next question here. Thank you, Lou, for your kind words. Do you think money is about emotion? From Karen Walsh. Well, yes, energy is, emotion is energy in motion. That's exactly what money is. Energy in motion. That's why it is a currency or a flow. So Karen, you hit it the nail on the head. Does it mean that you can't have money if you have a negative emotion? No, there are lots of miserable millionaires and billionaires out there. That was their path. To me, money is an amplifier. If you're a happy person, if you're on fire and you get a chunk of money, then you're a happier person and you're on fire. If you're a miserable person when you don't have money and you're given a lot of money, then you will be an even more miserable and or sarcastic or paranoid individual when you do have money. It amplifies whatever state you bring to it. However, it also magnifies exactly what you get to work on. Certainly, when we are down, when we're in a funk, which is why we created the boot camp on getting out of a funk, which is why we have the next boot camp coming out on positivity. When you're in those negative states, unless you already have a money-making machine in place, it becomes very difficult to get ourselves out of a hole because we associate one thing with another. I'm miserable and I don't have money. Therefore, it's because of money that I am miserable. Not true. Now, this isn't to say I don't believe the whole thing that money doesn't buy happiness. It sure does help. It's one heck of a lever. But we have the order backwards. Work on cranking up that internal happiness while following these steps so that you're stepping forward toward money. Money's always a two-step dance. All of law of attraction is. They don't tell you this. Law of attraction is 2 steps. 1, crank up the emotional state. 2, you've got to step forward. But do that and you will be emoting, energy in motion, bringing money into your life. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful question. Let's see what we have for our next question here. Prosperity games, beautiful. How do you think about, I'm not sure if this was the next question, but I'll go with it from the coaches platform. What do you think about automatic talking? What about automatic dancing for meditation? I think getting yourself in a trance-like state and dancing around can be very powerful. Talking can be very powerful too. However, because talking is our most common means of communication for the majority of us, it is all too easy to have the ego doing the talking rather than your inner wisdom, angels, guides, or whatever we want to call it. So automatic writing, in short, is a process where we go quiet, we go into a meditative state or trance-like state, and you become like a medium. And you put pen to paper and the word begin to flow without thought, without you thinking about it. You are loved, Michael. You are a good person. Here's what you get to think about today. Here's where you get to focus. Here's a lesson for today. That's automatic writing. When we try to do that from the conscious or from the spoken word, it's too easy, to trip the ego and get, Michael, why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do the other thing? If only you shoulda, woulda, coulda, and to get shoulded all over, at least initially. The more we practice with the written word, the more we begin to be able to discern what's the spoken word of the ego versus our inner wisdom, or literally angels, guide, God, source, universe, or what I like to joke is the giant cheeseburger in the sky. Once you make that connection and you gain that discernment of being able to tell what's my ego and what's my higher self, then the more talking that you do, the better. Becomes truly automatic talking. But before that, it's more like journaling out loud. Journaling is a great tool to learn about yourself, but it has a big limit. And that is, as Einstein said, it's very hard to solve a problem from the same level of energy from which it was created. We can run into that problem with automatic talking as well. Automatic dancing, go quiet, listen to the beat, allow the body to move. It's quite awesome. Automatic painting, automatic drawing, these work the same way, and they're helping you tap into that inner wisdom as well. All right, let's see what we have. Beautiful question. Thank you, the coaches platform. Let's see what we have next here. Michael Josie, do you have a simple visualization process for manifesting your heart's desire? A brilliant question, Joe. What I like to do is go into the feeling state, because you said the answer was in the question, Joe. The answer was manifesting your heart's desire. This is where we get into difficulty with manifestation, is if we want to manifest the head's desire, in other words, what looks best on paper, we hit all sorts of energetic blocks. Why? We're out of heart coherence, something I believe somebody asked about earlier tonight. When we manifest our heart's desire, we get into what the heart wants. We get into heart coherence, we get into alignment. So for myself, and what I do with coaching clients is, in fact, I had a coaching session right before this, and I asked him to feel what emotional state he wanted to feel in a month's time and what emotional state he wanted to feel at the end of the year, and to write that down and feel that out each and every evening before he goes to sleep. So it might be that he wants to feel a greater sense of freedom, a greater sense of empowerment, a greater sense of independence, a greater sense of confidence, a greater sense of a I've done this or a I've got this. Notice I'm going to the emotional state of feeling that out. Some people can see it visually. Other people can feel that buzz in their body. Other people need to go to a past experience where they felt that and then draw them forward. In fact, I do a lot of teaching with NLP where I help people link a specific time, event, and state of being and carry that forward. For myself, it's being on a mountain, not a mountain, a hilltop in Greenwood Lake Village, Greenwood Lake, New York, right on the New York, New Jersey border with Jessica 4 or 5 years ago, colored carpet of leaves and the fall foliage, and just feeling this sense of, ah. And each time, Joe, that I bring myself to sitting on those rocks, sitting with Jessica and seeing the colors of the fall colors, this rippled carpet in front of me, I bring myself back to that state of, ah. The more I bring myself back to that state, the more the universe starts to bring that state to me. See if we have a next question here. Do we have a next question I missed? She's running the chat room here this evening, so I'm checking in with her. She is down recharging her batteries in Sedona right now. Yes, Lou, joy is a huge, huge key here. So I'm going to scroll through and see if there are more questions here. Not seeing any. So let's see if Jessica came up with one. Any other questions here? We often think that money has been weaponized. Those who have money make more of it. Those of us who don't aren't going to be able to get any of it, and that the game is rigged and the deck is stacked against us. That is our ego, afraid of us stepping forward into our greatness, afraid of us stepping into our power, and wanting to stay in an ego, in a victim mentality. There's almost nothing worse than a victim mentality, and it's something we've been taught since we were young children. Pay attention, obey the rules, do what your mother said, do what your father said, and basically stripping away all control from us. But each of you watching here is a spiritual being having a human existence. You are a manifester. You are an incredible creator. However, when you look at somebody with jealousy, with envy, what you are doing is putting yourself down and putting yourself into a state of victimhood. When you catch yourself doing this, stop cold, send them love, and then send it back to yourself tenfold and realize you can create anything. Louise Hay started Hay House over 60 years of age. We are magical creators when we give ourselves permission, when we get in alignment, when we do a lot of these tools here today. But don't think it's only for the other guys. Oh, it's only for, well, Michael and Jessica, they this, or John and Sam, they that, or whomever, they this. No. All of us, if you're watching this, that means that you still have a breath in your body, you still have a pulse, which means you can create. Yeah, but I'm not really a good creator. Are you hungry? Well, yeah. Are you going to go get something to eat? Yeah. Well, you just created food for yourself. Well, I pulled it out of the cabinet. Yeah, that's called manifestation. We are each incredible manifestors. It's just getting out of our own way, which means letting go of that idea of I'm being oppressed by somebody else, I'm a victim, or they're better than me. Anything of the sort has got to go. All right, what's next? Brilliant question from wait. I hear millionaires still have money blocks. Why? Brilliant question. FEAR. Just because you have money doesn't mean you're not afraid of losing it. And so you hold on to it tighter and tighter and tighter still. I have a very dear friend who's a billionaire overseas. He does a lot of great things in the world, and yet he struggles with his heart. He has figured out how to make money, but he still has money blocks because it pains him on a daily basis. And so, yes, he is an incredible manifester, but he is not able to let go of the fear, even though he has $1 billion, and it hurts him and hurts him badly. Another reason not to judge anybody else. I remember seeing somebody with the most expensive Porsche out there years ago when I was on my bicycle with a crutch sticking out of my bicycle. It was after my first near-death experience. And I saw him, and at first I had this wave of envy over me. And then I looked into the car, and there was this very obese, what appearing to be miserable gentleman. And I'm not judging by the weight. It was just a reflection that he was really, really, really struggling, even though he had money. Just because we have doesn't mean we're not afraid of holding on to it. In fact, the ego can go wacky because money is an amplifier and make us more and more afraid. So maybe a millionaire could be a billionaire. Maybe a millionaire can do incredible good with his millions or her millions and make more and more and more if she would allow it to flow. Which means that even as a millionaire, you get to lean into that fear. That's what being an open-hearted warrior. All of our boot camps, it's the open-hearted warrior series. To be an open-hearted warrior means to lean into that fear, to no longer fight against the world, to get into the flow and therefore attract more goodness. Tonight it's wealth, but it could be success, it could be happiness, it could be joy, it could be bliss, it could be peace. To lean into that fear, go into that state of flow and begin attracting magic into your life. All right, let's see what we have next. Oh my gosh, many, 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 many questions here. Thank you guys for all your beautiful questions. Let's see. Okay, so we got the millionaire question. Can you show us an example of how to use muscle testing to overcome our blocks with money? TC, that is actually one of the toughest questions out there because muscle testing, and I was teaching it. I think I was teaching it in the last boot camp class, and I'll be teaching it more again. Muscle testing is affected by our emotional state. It's really checking in with the body or checking in with our inner wisdom. However, if we have a lot of blocks around money, then muscle testing tends to short out. And so I wouldn't recommend muscle testing specifically to go after blocks. Now, emotion code is a technique that was created by Dr. Bradley Nelson, and I do something similar to it myself. I may use muscle testing when I'm working on clients. However, when it comes to money blocks, I actually want them to write out some of the early blocks rather than go to muscle testing. Now, I can muscle test on them without it shorting out, but if you're doing it on yourself, let's write down what some of the blocks are. Often we know what they are rather than trying to muscle test and say, is this a block? Isn't it? If you're asking the question and trying to muscle test, do I have a money block? And you can't tell if am I getting a yes, am I getting a no? It's a guarantee yes. Just the fact you're asking the question means you know it's real. That's the answer being right in front of your face. So dive in to clear it. All right. Let's see. Hi, Michael. What do you recommend? Music 888. I love that number. What do you recommend to cope with anxiety? Music 888. There are so many tools. If I was to give you one tool on top of tapping, and so I'd say come to the tapping class because that will detune your nervous system. If I was to give you one tool to work on anxiety, be just that, the breath. It is the simplest, most free thing in the world. I would go to the breath 3 times a day for 3 minutes. It's an exercise I call the 3 by 3. We could do this for a couple seconds here. I always breathe in and out through the nose, which resets the nervous system, goes to a parasympathetic nervous system response. Simply breathe in, put a hand on the belly, feel the belly expand, and out. And in, and out. One more time. In, feel that air going all the way down to the belly expanding, and out. We do, as a shameless plug for our boot camps, we do guided meditations with hundreds of us together each and every evening. And there's such a magical energy of doing these meditations together. But just taking, that was just three breaths. Imagine doing that for 3 minutes and do it 3 times in the day. And you begin to reset and dial back your nervous system. All right, beautiful, beautiful question, Music 88. SB Yoga, and I'm looking at the time here, and we'll go for a few more minutes. We'll go probably about 5 more minutes or so, maybe a little less. Hi, Michael. From SB Yoga Mix, how do you visualize what you want when your current reality is the opposite? Oh, that's a brilliant question, SB Yoga Mix. Well, if you were ever to draw something on a piece of paper, even as a child, have you ever drawn a beach, even though you're not on the beach? Have you ever drawn a happy family, even though people might not be happy at the time? Have you ever drawn anything that wasn't you sitting on your chair drawing? That is called going into the imaginal realm, going into this imaginary state, which it turns out isn't so imaginary. Carl Jung, many decades ago, said the waking world is the dream world. The dream world is the waking world. Drawing out your dreams draws in your dreams. So if your current reality is, gosh, I'm picturing myself trying to drive home from a bicycle racing season. I think I was 18, 19 years of age, and I'm literally lifting up the car seats, trying to find a few more pennies to make it to the next gas station so that I can get to the house. If your current reality is you're completely out, imagine a time when you weren't completely out, or imagine what it would feel like if you weren't completely out, or imagine what it'd feel like if you had $100 in the account. Imagine what it would feel like if you had $1,000 in the account. Imagine what it would feel like, SB Yoga Mix, if you could travel around the world on a moment's notice and didn't have to worry about paying for anything. Imagine hanging on the beach, having somebody bring you Mai Tais or margaritas, or if you're like me, maybe a sparkling water. Imagine being able to go into a store and not have to worry about how much something cost. Maybe instead you want to look at how eco is this? How much can I help the earth with my money? Imagine that freedom that you would have if you have the dollars in your account that allow you to travel and to just be. Maybe you've got enough money that you just want to kick back and relax. You've worked so hard that you want to take a few days, a few weeks, a few months, a few years, and just vegetate until your chi is back. See? You can do that even though it's not your current state. I'm sure you just put yourself in that place. Part of it is a suspension of belief. Part of it is allowing ourselves to play again. Every child knows how to imagine. Every child knows how to play fantasy. Every child had either an imaginary friend or set the table for an imaginary friend or played superheroes or did something where they were in an imaginary world. That's all we're doing is putting ourselves in the imaginary world. I just recommend doing that before sleep and first thing in the morning when you are literally transforming on the other side of the veil. Or as the expression goes, as above, so below. The more you create on the other side, the more this world down here becomes a reflection of what you were creating up there. We're going to take time for just 2 more questions, and then we're going to call it good. Yes, Jessica, we are on the same page. I love you. I love you. I love you. Do we have two more questions? Jessica is saying for all of the tapping sessions for our whole boot camp, it's going to be $7 total. So 5 days we get together. We are going to tap away blocks. We are going to help you to overcome wealth issues, money issues, which can be two different things. Self-worth issues, success issues, things where you shoot yourself in the foot every time when the going gets good. That's what we're going to be diving into in this boot camp coming up in Monday, March 16th to Friday, I believe that is March 20th. You will love it because it is, once you start getting past these blocks, you realize how much money was right in front of you, which your ego completely disagrees with now, was right in front of you, but you couldn't see it because of your blocks. The conscious mind takes in something like 4 billion bytes of information every second. And yet we see only 7,000 bytes. We reaffirm what is going on the inside. If we're hungry, we're scanning for food. If we're fearful, we're scanning for danger. If we have lack, we're scanning, unfortunately, for more of that lack. But if we can clear those blocks, we open up our awareness to what's possible. It's sort of like looking in the fridge. If you know something's not in the fridge, you are guaranteed it's not in there. Even if that milk is right here in front of you, you will look for it. You will look around it and you will miss it. If you instead open the fridge and go, I don't see it, but I know that milk is here. I don't see where the money is coming from, but I have removed the blocks and I know it is here, then you will find it too. I'm going to take one last question, unless Jessica has something specifically that she wants me to say. Jessica, is there anything you want me to share with people? And yes, I would highly recommend taking the tapping class. It's $7 and we are going to dive deep. If there's anybody who was in our last boot camp who wants to talk about all of the goodness that came out of our meditations, that is what you're going to get. The energy of the group, all of us together doing this tapping work, is going to massively blast through blocks that you have. I can hear you. Why are you typing? I'm not typing. Oh, but I didn't know that she could hear me. Very, very cool. All right. Any last question, Jessica? Is there one? Where do I go to sign up? Jessica, she's going to put the link in there for people. I don't have that link off the top of my head, but Jessica does. And I think I saw one last question here. Okay. Wow. Okay. So I've got Wendy's question, and I'll do my best to answer SB Yoga's, and then we'll go here. Wendy Wareham. How do you remove limits on the abundance you can receive? You just answered the question right there. I feel guilty if I expect more than just what I need, but I would like to bring in more so I can help others. This is a self-worth coupled to a money. It is coupled to money is the root of all evil. That says that I should feel bad. I should feel guilty if I have more than I, quote, need. Who's to say what you need, Wendy? Maybe what you need is $1 million to help others. Maybe what you need is $10 million to help others. Or maybe it's simply $10,000 a month, Wendy, to help yourself and help others. Need is a very limiting belief that our ego establishes, which holds us in a lack mentality. It is why so many of us find ourselves stretching our money to make it through that month and barely have what we, quote, need. If you barely make it through the month, you have an abundance block. Why? Because if you needed $500 through the month, you made $500. If you needed $1,000 to get through the month, you had $1,000. If you needed $5,000 or $10,000, you're running your own small business and needed that much money to get through the month, then you would get exactly that. Just what you, quote, need. Just the limit that you have placed on yourself. So we work on self-worth. Wendy. We work on healing wounds with money, not just emotional blocks, but your relationship with money that makes you feel guilty for having money. I would start loving up my money. I would put like $100 bill or a $20 bill or whatever I have on my desk, and I would love it up and I would love it up and I would put crystals on it and I would say thank you to it and put a beautiful feather with it and say thank you for coming into my life. Thank you for helping me to have others. Please bring your friends back. I'm talking about money here, so bring your friends back to the live as well. Please bring your friends back, and I want to help give you out to the world. So please come, have more of it come in. I'm deserving. I love you, money. Please bring me more of it, and I am going to make you my best friend. Woohoo! You're changing your energetic state around money, Wendy. So come join us too at that tapping class, and we are going to help you clear it, because clearly, Wendy, you know how to make money and you know how to make a lot of it. You just stop yourself cold, and it doesn't have to be that way. All right, I think there was one last thing that we were going to take in here that came in from SB Yoga Mix. And this will be it for the evening. Should I meditate when I wake up multiple times a night? SB Yoga Mix. Oh, we have a whole program, a magical evening routine program to help you to sleep better, because we get to work on quieting your mind, getting you into more of a state of peace and bliss, rather a state of anxiety. I don't want you staying up too long in the middle of the night. So can you meditate when you wake up? Yes. Can you do automatic writing when you wake up? Yes. Can you do a mantra? Ooh, that'd be even easier. Here's my mantra that I would do. I wake up feeling rested and refreshed. I wake up feeling rested and refreshed. I wake up feeling rested and refreshed. That's where I would go, SB Yoga Mix. And then I would hang out in bed. I would not worry about getting back to sleep. I would not worry about doing anything. I would not worry that there's any place to go. So many people are stuck working literally up to 20 hours a day. Crazy. And you have the gift of being able to just lay in bed. So I wouldn't push, struggle, strain, or do anything unless you really wanted to. I would just hang out in bed. Now, if you choose and want to do something, you can certainly do alchemy. You can do affirmations on money. You can go to an imaginary world and dream up the most fantastical world of travel, of abundance, of wealth, of helping others. And you can go play in these worlds while you're half awake. That's awesome. Myself, if I'm really stuck awake, I might get up. It's very rare, but I might get up and do some automatic writing and say, all right, clearly, universe, you woke me up for a reason. What do you want to tell me? Why did you wake me up? And what can I learn from this? Hope this helps. I would definitely look at how we can clear away some of the emotions and some of the anxiety that may be keeping you up, along with a lot of sleep hygiene. Jessica may be able to put down a link for our magical evening routine here. And I think she'll put up the link one more time for the bootcamp. Bootcamp, we are going to help you, whether you have a money block, whether you have an abundance block, whether you have a worth issue, whether you have put a glass ceiling above you that doesn't allow you happiness or specifically success. We are going to help you start to strip away layers of those blocks and help you feel much, much, much better in just 5 days. Of this, I guarantee you are going to feel so much lighter. The woohoo that you see came out of addressing my blocks and peeling away layer after layer after layer of non-joy, of less than self-worth to get who I am. And this is your birthright too. Whether you're a woohoo-y person or not, your birthright is to have abundance, to have success, to have happiness, to be able to help others, to be able to be at the end of the month and go, how does it get any better than this? And not have to worry about this, but instead say, how can I rock this world? How can I play this game to the max? With that said, thank you so much for joining us here. Can't wait to see you in the boot camp in 10 days from now. 10 days from now, 13 days from now, I believe it is, we'll have up, I believe our next show will be, our premiere will be this Friday. We'll have our next live next Tuesday. If you liked it, please give us a thumbs up. That helps so much. And subscribe and click the bell icon. That way you'll be notified of upcoming shows. And be sure to leave your comments below. I do my best to get back in touch with each and every one of you. There's been so many great comments lately. I haven't been able to quite keep up, but I want to answer your questions and comments. Comment below. Love you guys so much. And on that note, Pookie, thank you for running everything. Thank you for being my, it goes beyond partner. Thank you for being my muse, my love, my everything. Thank you so much. And so I hope so much you're enjoying Sedona, and I'm sure I'll pick up the phone here in a few minutes and hear how you're enjoying down there. Love you guys so much. Be well. Have a magical evening ahead and keep on shining bright. Love you guys. And love you, Pookie. Yes, you are my everything. Woohoo!